The Kappa of the River, by Japanese Folktales. Brought to you by TellStory.net, stories from around the world. In the village of Mizukawa, where the clear Shirakawa River wound its way through rice fields and bamboo groves, there lived a boy named Taro who was known for his fearless spirit and kind heart. While other children avoided the deeper parts of the river, warning each other about the mysterious creatures said to dwell in its depths, Taro loved nothing more than swimming in its cool waters and catching fireflies along its banks at dusk. The elders of the village often gathered the children around the evening fire to tell stories of the Kappa, the water spirits with turtle-like shells, webbed hands and feet, and a bowl-shaped depression on top of their heads that held water from their river homes. These beings, they said, were both mischievous and dangerous, capable of great strength but also bound by strict codes of honor and politeness. Old grandfather Yamamoto would warn, his weathered face serious in the firelight.
Never challenge a Kappa to a wrestling match, for they are stronger than 10 men and will drag you down to the river bottom to make you their servant forever.
But Taro, though respectful of his elders, found these stories more fascinating than frightening. He had always felt a special connection to the river, and something deep in his heart told him that not all spirits were to be feared. One hot summer afternoon, when the cicadas sang their loudest songs and the air shimmered with heat, Taro was swimming alone in his favorite spot, a quiet bend in the river where willows dipped their branches into the flowing water. As he floated on his back, watching clouds drift across the blue sky, he noticed the water around him beginning to ripple in strange patterns, even though there was no wind. Suddenly, the water beside him parted, and up rose a creature unlike anything Taro had ever seen. It was about his own size, with greenish skin that glistened like a frog's, webbed hands and feet, and indeed a shell upon its back. Most distinctive of all was the bowl-shaped depression on top of its head, filled with clear river water that sparkled in the sunlight. Taro's first instinct was not fear, but wonder. The creature's eyes, large and dark, seemed intelligent and curious rather than threatening.
You must be a Kappa.
Taro said calmly, treading water as he studied his unexpected companion. The Kappa's eyes widened in surprise. Most humans who encountered his kind either fled in terror or attacked with weapons. This boy's calm acceptance was completely unexpected.
I am Swearyu. And you are either very brave or very foolish to speak with me so casually, young human.
My name is Taro. I don't think you seem dangerous at all. You seem lonely.
Swearyu was taken aback by this observation. It was true. He had lived in the river for over a century, watching generations of humans grow up along its banks but never daring to make contact. His fellow Kappa lived in distant parts of the river system, and visitors were rare.
Lonely? I had not considered that. But perhaps you are right. It has been many years since I had someone to talk with.
From that day forward, Taro and Swearyu began meeting regularly at the river bend. Taro would swim out to the deeper water, and Swearyu would emerge from his underwater home to share stories and experiences from their very different worlds. Swearyu told Taro about life beneath the river's surface, about the underwater gardens where he grew special varieties of lotus that bloomed only in the depths, about the schools of fish that would gather to hear him play his water flute, and about the ancient underwater palace where the Dragon King of the river held court. In return, Taro shared stories of human life, about festivals and seasons, about his family's rice farm, about school and friends, and about his dreams of one day becoming a scholar who could read all the books in the world.
You know, the village elders say that Kappa are dangerous and that they challenge people to wrestling matches to drag them underwater.
Taro said one afternoon as they sat on a large rock that jutted out from the riverbank. Swearyu looked embarrassed, his webbed hands fidgeting with a piece of river weed.
Well, that is somewhat true. It is tradition among my people to test the strength and honor of humans through contests of wrestling. But we only take those who prove themselves dishonorable or cruel to the underwater realm for punishment. Those who show honor and respect, even in defeat, are always allowed to return safely to the surface.
But what about the part where Kappa are incredibly strong?
That is also true. Our strength comes from the water in our head bowls. As long as it remains full, we have the power of the river itself flowing through us.
Taro nodded thoughtfully. Then, to Suiryu's surprise, he grinned mischievously.
In that case, I challenge you to a wrestling match.
What? But Taro, you're my friend. I do not wish to take you to the underwater realm.
And I don't intend to go there. But I've always wondered how I'd measure up against Kappa's strength. Besides, you said yourself that honorable opponents are returned safely. Don't you trust your own code of honor?
Suiryu found himself in an unprecedented situation. Never before had a human challenged him who was also his friend. But the code of his people was absolute. No Kappa could refuse a wrestling challenge, especially one issued with such confidence and good humor.
Very well, but first we must observe the proper customs. You must bow to me, and I must bow to you. It is the way these contests always begin.
Both Taro and Suiryu stood on the riverbank and faced each other. Taro, remembering his lessons in proper etiquette, executed a perfect, deep bow with his hands at his sides and his back straight. Suiryu, bound by centuries of tradition and politeness, automatically returned the bow with equal depth and respect. But as he bent forward, the water in his head bowl tipped forward and spilled out onto the ground, leaving the depression completely empty. Immediately, Suiryu felt his supernatural strength drain away. His legs became weak, his arms trembled, and he could barely stand upright. The emptying of a Kappa's head bowl was like losing their very life force.
Oh no. Suiryu, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that would happen.
Instead of taking advantage of his friend's weakened state, Taro quickly cupped his hands, filled them with river water, and carefully poured it back into Suiryu's head bowl. As the water filled the depression, the Kappa's strength immediately returned. Suiryu stared at Taro in amazement. According to every story he had ever heard, humans who learned the secret of a Kappa's weakness would exploit it mercilessly. Yet this boy had not only refrained from taking advantage, but had actually helped restore his power.
You could have easily defeated me just now. Any human could have demanded anything of me in that moment: treasure, service, magical favors. Yet you helped me instead. Why?
Because you're my friend. Friends help each other, they don't take advantage of each other's weaknesses.
From that moment, the bond between Taro and Suiryu deepened into something truly special. Suiryu taught Taro how to swim underwater for much longer than any human normally could, sharing with him the secret breathing techniques of the river spirits. In return, Taro taught Suiryu about human customs, sharing his lunch with the Kappa and even bringing him books to read, which Suiryu found endlessly fascinating. Their friendship might have continued peacefully forever, but late in the summer, a crisis arose that would test both their courage and their bond. A terrible drought began, the worst in living memory. Day by day, the Shirakawa River grew lower and lower. The rice fields began to crack and turn brown, and the villagers grew desperate as their crops withered under the relentless sun. The village headman declared during an emergency meeting,
"We must do something to appease the water spirits. Perhaps they are angry with us. We should offer prayers and gifts to the river."
But Taro knew from his conversations with Suiryu that the Kappa had no power over such large-scale weather patterns. The drought was simply a natural disaster that would have to run its course. However, he also knew that his friend might be in danger as the river continued to shrink. Indeed, when Taro next met Suiryu, he found the Kappa weak and distressed. The water level had dropped so low that Suiryu's underwater home was barely habitable. and many of his fellow Kappa had already migrated to deeper rivers far away.
I must leave soon, Taro. If the river drops much more, I will not be able to survive here.
Then come with me. My family has a deep well behind our house. You could live there until the rains return.
Live among humans? But what if they discover me? What if they fear me or try to harm me?
Then I'll protect you. Just as you've been my friend, I'll be yours.
That night, under cover of darkness, Taro led Suiryu through the rice fields to his family's farmhouse. The well was indeed deep and cool, fed by an underground spring that continued to flow even during the drought.
It's perfect. But Taro, if your family discovers me...
Let me worry about that.
For several weeks, Taro managed to keep Suiryu's presence a secret. He would bring food to share by the well each evening, and they would continue their conversations under the stars. Suiryu even began to help secretly with the farm work, using his knowledge of water to help locate the best spots to dig irrigation channels. But secrets have a way of revealing themselves. One morning, Taro's younger sister Yuki came to draw water from the well and nearly fainted when Suiryu's green head popped up from the depths.
Taro, there's a monster in our well.
The entire family rushed out. Taro's parents, his grandparents, and several neighbors who had heard the commotion. When they saw Suiryu cowering in the well, clearly terrified, weapons were immediately raised and angry voices began shouting.
A Kappa. Evil water spirit. It must have come to steal our remaining water.
Please, wait! He's not evil. His name is Suiryu, and he's my friend.
Taro stepped between his family and the well, spreading his arms protectively.
Friends with a Kappa? Son, these creatures are dangerous. It probably cast some kind of spell on you.
No spell. Just friendship. He's been living in our well because the river dried up, and he's actually been helping our farm. Those new irrigation channels that appeared overnight? Suiryu designed them using his knowledge of water flow.
The crowd murmured uncertainly. It was true that their crops had been doing slightly better than their neighbors, and those mysterious channels had indeed appeared as if by magic.
Honorable humans, I mean no harm to your family or your village. Taro-kun has shown me kindness when I was in need, and I have tried to repay that kindness by helping where I could. If my presence disturbs you, I will leave immediately and trouble you no more.
The crowd fell silent. They had expected a monster, but this creature spoke with courtesy and humility. Grandfather Yamamoto, who had told so many stories about Kappa trickery, found himself reconsidering his assumptions.
You say you've been helping our farm?
Yes, honored sir. I know the secret paths that water takes through soil and stone. I have tried to guide your irrigation to be more efficient, and I have asked my fish friends to fertilize your rice fields with their movements.
Taro's mother, who had been silent throughout the exchange, suddenly stepped forward.
You must be hungry. Taro, bring our guests some of the cucumbers from the garden. I've heard that water spirits are fond of them.
Mother?
If he's been helping our family, then the least we can do is offer him proper hospitality.
From that day forward, Suiryu became an unofficial member of Taro's family and an honored friend of the village. When the autumn rains finally returned and the river swelled back to its normal levels, Suiryu faced a choice: return to his underwater home or continue living among the humans who had accepted him.
I think I would like to do both. I could spend part of my time in the river and part with your family. That way, I can serve as a bridge between our two worlds.
He told Taro as they sat by the refilled river.
Like an ambassador. Ambassador Suiryu of the Shirakawa River.
And so it came to pass that the village of Mizukawa became the first human settlement to have an official friendship treaty with the Kappa of the river. Suiryu helped the farmers understand the river's moods and needs, while the humans learned to respect and protect the water spirit's domain. From that day forward, the story of the boy and the Kappa was told throughout the land, reminding all who heard it that even the greatest differences can be bridged through kindness, honor, and respect.